Hello, I'm Paul Clements, ex-electronics engineer and teacher, and one of my passions is restoring old communications receivers. And I'm going to show you a set which I've lovely restored over the past few weeks, and this is an Eddystone 640, and I may well be putting it up for sale on eBay, and if I do, it's going to make a superb little receiver for the collector. And here he is. Now, some of the work I've done to the receiver, which I've had for 2 years and which I bought off eBay of someone called Richard Owen, I've had to completely dismantle the receiver because it came to me in a very dirty state. And 3 valves have gone low emission, and if we look at the inside here, we'll see it's a 9-valve receiver, and it has a tuned RF stage here, which means it has a 3-gang tuning capacitor. Now, 3 valves I've had to replace here, which have gone low emission. We have the audio driver valve here, which is a 6Q8. We have the audio output valve here, which is a 6V6. And we have the BFO valve here, the beat frequency oscillator valve, which is a CV1100. And they'd all gone low emission, so I've replaced them with new valves from Langrex, and the performance is now very, very good. I haven't bothered to replace any of the high value resistors or the high power resistors. I've checked them all and they're not too far out of spec. Some have gone about 10% out of spec, which is okay. So the set is still very sensitive and still completely serviceable. So no resistors changed. Somebody has changed a couple of the capacitors in the past, but all the remaining capacitors measure okay, so I've left them in. And so I would say a lot of this circuit is, a lot of this receiver is original, apart from the 3 valves that I've replaced. Now, one point worth noting is that one of the previous owners has put in something called a product detector, which enables good clear reception of single sideband signals, and he's done it quite neatly. It's on the chassis on the underside. I'm not going to turn the set over to show you now, but it is nice, it is tidy, and personally I would leave it in. And let's just show you, I've got the set on SSB at the moment on 40 meters. So if I turn the volume up, okay, that's with the RF gain turned fully up. It's very sensitive, and as you can see, the demodulation of SSB, single sideband, is really very nice. Oh, there's a strong one. Now listen to that. Good, clear demodulation of single sideband signals. If that product detector were not in circuit, if it hadn't been added, then the demodulation of single sideband would be no way as good as that. Now, as you can see, I've cleaned up the chassis, and look at that, it's absolutely beautiful. Very little corrosion at all, almost pristine. Isn't that nice? So there you go. So we've taken off the front panel, we cleaned up the chassis, we replaced 3 valves, we checked the alignment, and the alignment's spot on. We've taken out the tuning dial, cleaned it up. We've taken out the dial glass, cleaned it up. We've taken off the front panel. We've cleaned all that. The paintwork was all good, which is good news. Taken off the finger plate. The finger plate is also good. There is one little mark, and I'm going to show you where that is. And it's just here. Can you see that beside the BFO switch? It's hardly noticeable, and the rest of the finger plate really is very nice indeed. So a very good radio for the collector. Now, the tuning dial did have some patina in this area here, and I had to clean it all off. In the process of doing that, I'm afraid we've lost the figure 3 down here. I did put on a figure 3 on a piece of film and stuck it on the dial, but it stuck out like a sore thumb, so I've taken it off. However, I have replaced the Made in England, which is down the bottom here. Can you see that? And that's printed on film and stuck on, and it does look rather good. So that was the only problem with the tuning dial, but it does look nice and clean and clear and readable now. Really very nice condition indeed. So overall, having taken the finger plate off and cleaned and polished it, cleaned up the tuning dial, restrung the band spread dial, and I'm going to show you the band spread has... Oh, listen to that. Well, that's it on single sideband again. But I'm going to show you the band spread dial has the characteristic action of Eddystone flywheel tuning. And watch this. Absolutely beautiful. Look at that. One of the jobs I've done is to lubricate the mechanism, and it really does work very nicely indeed now. Now, what I'm going to do now is to take it out of single sideband mode by switching off the BFO. And there you go. Listen to that. That does sound nice on AM. Again, it's sounding nice because it's got new audio valves. And of course, with valve outputs, that's a valve amplifier basically. You have lovely linear valve output sound, and it does sound nice. And it'll drive an external speaker, but we've got this little speaker built in here. And really, I think that's about it. I've taken off the control knobs and polished them. Look at that. Nice and clean and shiny. Done that on my lathe, and they come up beautifully. So the whole set really is very nice and clean and handsome. And if you want to buy it, it's going to be up for sale on eBay. There you go. That's my presentation on the Eddystone 640. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much indeed for listening to me.